Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Dhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachadhava Kunja Bihari. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. So, today in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam class, this morning we will be discussing from 4 of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, chapter 29. And our specific focus will be on text number 75. Canto 4, chapter 29, text 75. Chapter 29 is titled as Talks between Narad and King Prachina Barhi. Text 75 goes as follows. Bhayam dukkham sukham chanena vindati. Sukham chanena vindati. Anena purusho dehan upadatte vimunchati. Harsham shokham bhayam dukkham sukham chanena vindati. Anena purusho dehan upadatte vimunchati. Harsham shokham bhayam dukkham Sukham chanena vindati. Anena purusho dehan. Upadatte vimunchati. Harsham shokham bhayam dukkham. Sukham chanena vindati. Purusho dehan. Upadatte vimunchati. Harsham shokham bhayam dukkham. Sukham chanena vindati. Anena purusho dehan. Upadatte vimunchati. Harsham shokham bhayam dukkham. Sukham chanena vindati. Anena, by this process, Purusha, the living entity, Dehan, gross bodies, Upadatte, achieves, Vimunchati, gives up, Harsham, enjoyment, Shokham, lamentation, Bhayam, fear, Dukkham, unhappiness, Sukham, happiness, Cha, also, Anena, by the gross body, Vindati, enjoys. Translation. By virtue of the processes of the subtle body, the living entity develops and gives up gross bodies. By virtue of the process of the subtle body, the living entity develops and gives up gross bodies. This is known as the transmigration of the soul. Thus, the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. Thus, the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. According to this explanation, one can clearly understand that originally the living entity was as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his pure spiritual existence. However, when the mind becomes polluted by desires for sense gratification in the material world, the living entity drops into the material condition as explained in this verse. Thus, he begins his material existence, which means that he transmigrates from one body to another and becomes more and more entangled in material existence. The process of Krishna consciousness, by which one always thinks of Krishna, is the transcendental process by which one can revert to his original spiritual existence. Devotional service means always thinking of Krishna. Manmana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasya satyam te pratijane priyosime. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita 18.65. One should always engage in the Lord's devotional service. As recommended in the Archana Marg, one should worship the deity in the temple and constantly offer obeisances to the spiritual master and the deity. These processes are recommended to one who actually wants to become free from material entanglement. Modern psychologists can study the actions of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing, but they are unable to go deep into the matter. This is due to their lack of knowledge and to their not being associated with a liberated Acharya. This is our central point for today. This is due to their lack of knowledge and due to their not being associated with a liberated Acharya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. As it is, that science is now lost. Guided by so-called psychologists and philosophers. This is another important point. Guided by so-called psychologists and philosophers, people in the modern age do not know the activities of the subtle body and thus cannot understand what is meant by the transmigration of the soul. In these matters, we have to take the authorized statements of Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Unless all human society understands this important verse in Bhagavad Gita, civilization will advance in ignorance, not in knowledge. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukham Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tammaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Vanchakal Patarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Anena Purusho Dehan Upadatte Vimunchati Harsham Shokam Bhayam Dukkham Sukham Chanena Vindati. By virtue of the processes of the subtle body, the living entity develops and gives up gross bodies. This is known as the transmigration of the soul. Thus the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness and unhappiness. So, since childhood, we have, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we have watched a lot of movies. All of us, I think, most of us. Some may be Prahlad Maharaj, but I was not. So, one of the favorite themes in movies is Jailbreak. The protagonist or the hero is trying to escape the jail. And there are so many movies that have been made on this topic. There are so many television serials that have been made on this topic. There is Prison Break, and then there is, in the 1970s, Clint Eastwood had this, Escape from Alcatraz jail. So there are so many such movies on this theme. And then there are a lot of documentaries also on the world's most difficult jails to break. So I always was attracted to this Jailbreak kind of movie somehow. Don't ask me why. And to the life of these people who are on death row. Very early in my life, I was thinking, what does a man think? Because I didn't know Krishna consciousness at that time. I was thinking, what if somebody was told that you're going to die, and they have nothing to do, and they have to just sit in a room, and then they have to wait till someone just puts them on a lethal injection or electric chair or whatever. So, and I used to sometimes hear the interviews of those people. They were interviewed and then say, do you know you're going tomorrow to the electric chair or whatever? And that guy says, yeah, I know it. And then what's your last wish? Last meal and whatever. So somehow I used to always be intrigued by this. What does a man go through when he knows he's going to go tomorrow? Of course, after that we came to know about Parikshit Maharaj, who came to know that he was 7 days. Of course, in different circumstances, but still. So when you go through this world's toughest prisons, there are few general characteristics that you will see, regardless of whichever prison, that it may be, Guantanamo Bay or this Alcatraz or whatever, Albatross or whatever that you call it as. So the common theme is that jail is a difficult place. It's an extremely difficult place. Nobody wants to be there. That much is 100% sure. People get frustrated in the jail. Now, the problem with the world's toughest prisons is that these world's toughest prisons are for those people who have escaped ordinary prisons and have been caught again, right? And then they have been sent to these world's toughest prisons. These prisons, there is no chance of someone escaping. No chance. Because they are fortified. In fact, this Alcatraz prison, which is in San Francisco, somewhere near that, it's on an island. The whole prison is built on a rock. So where will you drill and go? From down also you can't drill. Like the famous drug dealer El Chapo, he escaped 3 times from jail. So he dug, underground and escaped through the toilet, right? So, but this is built on rock, so how do you escape? But still, people are smart. What do they look for? They look for that small ray of hope. They keep looking. And the good part is, when one person in the jail finds out that small ray, which comes through some small hole which will be there, and they can gradually enlarge this hole now, and I can slowly scoop it out, or drill something I'll do. Obviously, you can't drill in a jail, there'll be noise. So what they do several kinds of planning. And to escape a jail, one man cannot do it. It needs teamwork. Others have to help. But why will others help when they also have a stake in the, stake in the share, right? So there will be a team which they will form, when they are dining with each other and they'll discuss. One fellow will be a welder, one fellow will be a carpenter, one fellow will be, everyone has different skill sets, right? One fellow will be a civil, contractor, kind of like a plumbing and other stuff, So they'll discuss ideas and together they'll work, supporting each other. People will have different skills, in that whole group, right? And then they'll say, okay, together let's help each other escape. And as a team, using that small ray which they get, one day they will prison break. That is how most Many movies, which you see, observe, are based on this particular theme. So, there is a story of a small girl. One small girl, one day, and she also went to a jail. She didn't go to jail because she was a criminal or something, but she was also kind of intrigued by this. And she also felt sorry for all these jail inmates, because these jails are so notorious. Of course, the criminals are also no less notorious, but these jails are so bad that even in the toughest jail, when you are put in a room, the room is so small that you can't do much. People go mad. You can just walk 3 steps here and walk 3 steps there, right? And then there is some small sunlight that comes in, and you are allowed to read books. That's all you can do in the world's toughest business. There is no other activity. Okay, sometimes they'll give you some paid job here and there. But there also what happens, because criminals are criminals, they'll fight with each other inside that jail also, right? And when they fight with each other, they are put in what in Hindi is called as Kal Kotri. Kal Kotri means dungeon. That's not even a jail. That's the most horrible, because even that small ray of light doesn't come there. It's darkness. Just imagine you're put in darkness in a room. People go mad, crazy after coming out from there. Okay, and then they are warned. Now, don't have any problems with other prisoners. Otherwise, you'll go again into the dark room, and nobody wants the dark room. So when you see this horrible situation inside the jail, then eventually realizes that there's no other way. I just have to get out of this place. And a person on the outside, when you see it, yes, definitely they have to be punished, but when you see some really inhuman conditions, sometimes you think, why are these people suffering? Again and again they'll do this crime. Again, when they come out on parole also, what they'll do? They'll again go and stab someone, again they'll go there, right? So a person from outside is always thinking, okay, is there a way that this fellow who's caught in this cycle can be taught how to escape this place? Can I give him some buddhi, some intelligence by which he doesn't have to suffer this? So, thus thinking, a small girl, not very mature, but very kind-hearted girl. So what she did was, one day she went to a jail with this thought that, can I do something to help these people? So she had a small gift in her hand, okay, and a gift pack in her hand, and she had a letter along with that attached to this gift pack, and she gave it to the superintendent of the jail, saying that, I want you to go and give this gift pack along with this letter to the most condemned prisoner who has no chance. Okay, the most condemned fellow in this jail, who is the most suffering also, usually, right? Now, what was there in the gift pack? In the gift pack, there were heaps and heaps of spiritual and religious books for this person. And in the note, she had written a letter empathizing with the situation of this most condemned prisoner. She doesn't know who he or she is, but in the end of the note, she wrote, you may have done whatever you have done, but in the eyes of God, in the eyes of police, you may be most wanted, but in the eyes of God, you are still His child. In the eyes of God, whatever you may be, you are still His child. So, what happened was, when the superintendent went to the most hardened criminal in the jail and gave him this letter, and he read, especially this line, last line, struck him. He had tears in his eyes and he was moved that someone thought of him like that. And then, to reciprocate with this girl, because he was so moved, so he wrote a letter back and said, please deliver it to this girl, whoever gave it to you. And in his letter, he said, I agree, I am the most condemned of all prisoners. Okay, I never hesitated to kill. I was hardened, what do you call that as? Thick skin, thick-skinned criminal, right? Hardened in everything. I have taken 3rd degree and everything. So very hardened guy. But I must admit, I am afraid of death. Okay, my own death. I must admit that, right? And which is coming, right? But he says, and I know that I must face death in the near future, because they have told me that I am going to die. However, having read your sentence that in the eyes of God, you will always be His child. Okay, having read that, now the fear of death has considerably lessened for me, because I know these people in the jail, the jailers, the warden, they don't love me. Neither they probably by their own behaviors, they are not going to be in any position to reform me. But I know that there is someone up there. Now you told me that he loves me. Okay, so I have some hope in my life. From a life of fear, now this hope will give me fearlessness, that I have something at the end of this dark tunnel of incarcerated existence. So, similar to this particular girl, who is this girl in this analogy that we just spoke? This girl represents pure Vaishnavas. Pure Vaishnavas, from time to time, they come down to this Alcatraz where we are all. This is our jail. Except we don't know it. Okay, we can't see this darkness. It's subtle. It's not gross like that jail. The beatings are also there in this jail. The warden Durga Devi keeps us in this jail. She's tough on people. Trigunamayi, three modes of material nature. The beauty about this jail is that it is not fortified. It is not sitting on any kind of rock. It is open everywhere. But no one wants to escape this jail. There are no gates, nothing. By one's own desire, one continues in this jail. That's the problem. So, Prabhupada says it is desire, which in this translation, if you see it today, by virtue of the process of the subtle body, which is the mind, the living entity develops and gives up gross bodies. The soul becomes to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation. There is some enjoyment in that jail also. Sometimes they'll give you good food in that jail. They'll give you an interesting novel to read. So the desire to escape may go down. So the pure Vaishnavas, they are like this girl who visit this particular jail and whose only job is to come and give a ray of hope to all of us. The interesting point is, when these Masihas, when these Vaishnavas come to this particular jail, okay, they don't see the crime. They focus less on the crime, or they focus less on the criminal, but they focus on the root cause of why this person is doing as such. And they know also usually what is the root cause. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said the root cause of all problems is lack of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Devotion, he quotes, Yena tena prakarena mana Krishne niveshayet, which means somehow or the other, Yena tena prakarena, in some form or the other, jaise bhi taise bhi, we say in English, Yena tena prakarena, in somehow mana Krishne niveshayet. Somehow or the other, fix your mind on Krishna. Then your life is successful. Now, in this section, Narad Muni is one such girl. He's trying to convince this fellow, Prajin Barhi. So many verses. This section is not ending only, right? And sometimes, you think, what more can I tell in this section? If you are on the roster in this section. Narad Muni is going on telling him. He's not giving up, right? So, there's a long story. After telling the whole Puranjan story, this fellow is not understood. Okay, he's saying, I didn't understand. Then Narad Muni says, okay, I'll make it further, I'll talk about it. And then after again Narad Muni gives any rendition, then he realizes this fellow is still blank. Okay, he still has karma kanda tendencies. So Narad Muni now is not even asking him, he's continuing, right? So for chapters and chapters it is continuing. And this chapter itself has got some, we are in the 75th verse, and again there are some 10 more verses, I think, right? So he's going on and on. Now, in one way, if you see it in another way, this is the compassion of a Vaishnava, right? He is not giving up only on this Prachin Barhi. So he is trying to convince him that don't be in this jail. So Vaishnavas are extremely merciful. And today's purport, Prabhupada is actually highlighting that point only. Prabhupada says that people need the association of a liberated Acharya. They need the association. Without that, they will not even develop the desire. Forget about after developing the desire and the knowledge, then they actually practicing and then, escaping. That's a different story altogether. So, this is, a typical example of a long conversation. It takes, it takes a long time to bring someone into Krishna consciousness, to keep someone into Krishna consciousness, sustain their desire, and by that time our own desire also has to be there. Otherwise we will fall down reaching to someone. That is also possible. So it's not easy. So Prabhupada gives an interesting example in his books, that just as water is very pure when it is falling from the sky, but when it comes in contact with the ground, it gets polluted. So Prabhupada often quotes this verse, Mama evamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashtan indriyani prakriti sthani karsati. Originally we were all pure, but now because of our desire to enjoy separately in this material world, we have come here, we have come in contact with the three modes of material nature, we have come with dirty objects of this material world, and therefore our mind and senses are polluted. And depending on the desire of this mind, then we get into different types of bodies. Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita 15.8, Shariram yad avapnoti yad chapi ut kramati ishvaraha grihit vaitani samyati vayur gandhan ivashayat. Vayur gandhan ivashayat means what? The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aroma. Thus, he must take one kind of body and again quits it to take another body. This is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and many verses this is mentioned. But does one want to escape? Yes, some people want to escape, but they don't know how to escape. So the process is only Krishna consciousness. Manmana bhava bhat bhakto, Prabhupada is mentioning in today's verse. It's a simple process. Surrender yourself to Lord Krishna, think about Lord Krishna, but people are not interested. Again and again this comes. It's not something new that we are hearing today. People are not interested. What to speak of people outside? Even devotees say, I have heard so many times, we have fallen into the spiritual world, to come in contact with the material energy. Tell me something new. Tell me about it. Even when these sections, when we are reading the purports, there is a tired expression on the face. Oh, one more of those purports, like that. Okay. Nobody is eagerly listening. Yeah, are we fallen from the spiritual world? Are we contaminated? No one thinks like that. I've heard this. It's like that. So our mind is like that. What to do? Despite hearing and again, but we will still not develop desire to get out of this material world. If some enjoyment comes, we are vulnerable after hearing again and again. So Prabhupada says that even in, if it happens in devotee congregation, what to speak of outside? Now outside, what is the problem? So Prabhupada writes in this purport, Prabhupada says, misguided by so-called spiritualists, mundane scholars, psychologists, psychiatrists, all these people are together misguiding. And the so-called good people. We have to be good, we have to be a good person. Sometimes people are doing this, full of goodness on their self. I have to stand up for the right things in life. I'm bold. People say all these things. So, similarly, Prachin Barhi, now what is happening? He has heard the whole story from Narad Muni. And then Prachin Barhi is also saying the same thing. That's why Prabhupada is quoting here. Prachin Barhi is saying that, thank you for giving me this knowledge. All throughout my life, I have been misguided by the so-called spiritualists, philosophers, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever. I don't know whether Prachin Barhi went to a psychiatrist. But essentially his psychiatrists were all those so-called people who were giving him the process of misguiding him into karma kand and diverting him to so many other processes. So he has met so many brahmanas, so many gurus he had during his reign, but nobody gave him this what Narad Muni is now giving him. Now, and Narad Muni, now what he is doing, Narad Muni is saying, to hell with all those fellows, whatever they told you. Now I am telling you whatever, right? So he is condemning whatever the other fellows have given. It's diametrically opposite to what those fellows said. Because those fellows always told him ways of enjoying present life. But Narad Muni is telling him there is no way, no hope. I am giving you a ray of hope, and using that ray of hope, now you have to get out of the material world. And Narad Muni is waiting there till he understands what is that ray of hope. He's persisting with him. So, Prabhupada talks about all this. psychologists, psychiatrists, etc., and says that they don't know themselves, they don't know what is the goal of life. They neither know Sambandha, Abhidaya, Prayojana, nothing they know, but still they talk. So not everyone knows and even the so-called spiritualists who have studied the Vedas, they don't know the purpose of the Vedas. So therefore, they'll focus more on the Karma Kanda section, the Jnana Kanda, the Upasan Kanda section, and not on the Bhakti sections. So it's like the blind leading the blind. So once Srila Prabhupada was approached by a lady monk. And this lady monk came and then she said, I work on interfaith. So we are holding an interfaith conference. So we wanted to invite your good self. So Prabhupada said, what is the topic? We said, promoting peace in the material world. Creating a material world where everyone can stay peaceful together. So Prabhupada said, you are trying to find out how a toilet can be a comfortable place. How can a toilet be a comfortable place? Your theme is itself incorrect. Rather, you guide people on how to stay nicely outside the toilet. Okay, not in this way, but Prabhupada immediately came to the point. Prabhupada said this material world is like a toilet. So tell them how to get out of this place and live happily. There is no chance. I don't know what you people will discuss there. Obviously she went away. I don't think she came again ever near Prabhupada. Anywhere, what is that? Quarantined. Don't come within 2 hands away. Like that. Okay. So these messages, whatever these saintly personalities say, they do not resonate with those people, with those who are so-called Samaritans. Because these Samaritans themselves don't know how to extricate themselves from this material world. The so-called good people. We care. They say, we care. I remember many years back there was this song, we are the world, we are the children. So you heard that song? We are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. So what they did was they called all these people, Phil Collins, this fellow Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, everyone was lined up. And then they made this beautiful album and it had millions and millions. Fine, it was good, but at the end of the day, what it was just saying, help people on the bodily platform. There was no one line in that which ever talks about escaping from this prison. And great personalities, all the greatest singers of the world were brought together and none of them really knows Atma Tattva. So therefore, these people cannot help. At best, what will happen? They'll ask us, they'll guide us to open hospitals, to donate, to do some donations to charity, open some schools here and there, do peace rally, etc. When I was in Canada, I was asking one of my colleagues, I said, what are you doing weekend? I said, I'm going for a run, cross-country run. I said, why suddenly, man, you are doing? So he said that, to support the cause of AIDS. I said, come on, man. I know this fellow. So he was a little bit of a lusty fellow, he was. So then he told me, actually, no, a lot of girls are going to come there. They are all, going to run. So I will have a good time watching them. So I am also participating in the race. So this is the world. And then what will happen? The cause of AIDS. When you see people who are naked, literally, and running on the road, what will happen? You will generate funds for AIDS research, but people will get lusty desires, and further it will promote AIDS, right? So whatever problem you are trying to solve, you are actually, increasing that problem, right? So no idea of what to do, okay? The whole idea is generate money, do research, and then, if AIDS comes, how to create a vaccine and cure it. But don't work on removing lust from the heart of human beings. So extremely reactive solution this world gives, okay? So, and this happens in many spiritual organizations, even in India. I was talking to one devotee whose family is attached to one Baba, Bapu, right? So I was asking what this Bapu tells you, okay? Something, he's giving pravachan every day, lectures every day, and big farm, big property here, there, etc. So he was telling me that, nothing much is happening there. I mean, for years, and his family has been attached to this particular so-called spiritual leader or whatever, very influential, very powerful, very wealthy, everything is there, beard, everything is in place, saffron robe, but there is no inside, the real substance doesn't come out from the mouth of escaping from the material world. So whoever goes, they go for years and years and they keep giving money, right? And in return, they also get some favors, maybe some political favors here and there. So many things they will get, but they will not get Krishna. Because this person doesn't have Krishna at the end of the day. He can, the whole mission is about how to do charity. They have got so much funds that they have hospitals, they may have schools, they'll feed the poor people. Fantastic, all that must be done. There's no doubt about that. But then you're still forgetting the real, you're not still teaching people how to escape the jail. So that process is not there, unfortunately. So they don't go anywhere. There was yet another institution, which I was, which I heard about. There, the only principle they tell their people is that you don't have to do anything. Just once a year, you give us donation. That's all. We will do a yajna in your name, in your entire family's name. What is your name? Sevya Bhagavanji. What's your gotra? Achyuta gotra. Sevya Bhagavan, Achyuta gotra, Swaranaya Swaha, this Swaha, that Swaha, Arogyam, Aishwaryam, Dehinam, Shanti. And then they'll give you one kela, one banana with some, beetle leaves and nuts on it, right? And then you'll take that and say, Prashad, Prashad, everyone will eat that. And they'll say, now you come give next donation, you give next year again donation. All Shanti will happen. No Shanti comes because Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakali, Ashant. Everybody is Ashant. Nothing is going to come out of these endeavors, right? But people are still going, they'll say, we go there. Once a year we go there. They say, Paap dhul jayenge. Sab paap dho ke aate hain. We, we clean all our sins by giving donation and they do a yagya. Then we are first class, back to again, our normal life. It's like that. So it's like the elephants bathing, if at all. In fact, the elephant is not even bathing here. That is the problem. At least an elephant is bathing in the water. But here there is no bathing because by karma kanda you can't erase your karma anyway. So they think they are bathing, but they are not even bathing. Like that. So this is the whole activity is going on like that. So Prabhupada is hammering this point here. These people are misguiding us, psychologists, psychiatrists, Western philosophers. Western philosophers, they also don't know what to do. Now most of these institutions, you may wonder, why people go there? Why people go there? Simple. Because they don't tell you any rules and regulations. Prabhupada said, no meat eating, no intoxication, people left the room. Can I attain God still eating meat? Nice, enjoy sex, eat lot of meat, drink, and still then Pushpa Viman, Vaikunta Viman will come after that. Because the Lord is very merciful. They'll say, Jesus pardons. Prabhupada said, Jesus Christ is not a contractor who takes away your sins. Every time you sin, and then Jesus will take and He'll suffer on the cross, you guys will nicely drink and enjoy. And one day, it is your right then, because you accepted Him as the Savior, that chariot will come and take you to the heavenly planets to enjoy more for all the nonsense you all did. Okay, so this is how misguided by philosophers. But and these philosophers at some point in time they may give big lectures on big podiums, wearing suit, black tie, and all those things. But they, beyond a point, they also don't know what to say. Okay, then they start mentally speculation. So Prabhupada is bringing that point also. The philosophers will start speculating. The whole Jnana Yoga is also based on speculation. That is why it said two jnanis never stay together. Okay, because the whole idea of jnana is speculation. If I start speculating, you say you're if I want to learn cloud computing, I should ask you. You are the authority in that. If I and Prabhuji, Sukhdeva Prabhu start discussing, okay, what do you think is cloud computing? Cloud computing means the water is going up, and the clouds are formed. We both will be speculating like that. We will never reach. Computers will go up and then it will fall down. Maybe it's hosted at some 30,000 feet, so it's like clouds and all are there. Cloud computer. So we have to ask you. You are the authority in that subject matter, right? So the jnanis keep on speculating. After that, both of us will fight. He will say, I think cloud computing is like that. I want nonsense. How dare you tell me? You thought I'm a fool? You think I'm a fool? And they will fight. So therefore, jnanis stay alone. Only when you have a common ideology can you stay together, right? Where it is not your view, it's not my view, it's coming from the Acharya, someone who we all respect. And again, he is giving us as it is, whatever is coming from the Lord. Then we can be united in a common cause. Okay. So, because these people have their own individual ideas, therefore they will never be able to sustain a movement. Okay. Prabhupada writes in Matchless Gift. Okay. That small book of Prabhupada. This was one of the first books that I read. Prabhupada quotes a Bengali poem from Prema Vivarta by Jagannath Pandit. So Prabhupada quotes that. Prabhupada says, Pishache paile, Pishache paile, jana mati channa hai, maya grasta jiver hai, sa bhava uday. Pishache paile means what? These people are haunted. Pishacha means ghost. Persons who are haunted by ghost will only speak nonsense from their mouth. When you are haunted, what do you speak? You don't know what you are speaking, right? So Prabhupada is quoting that verse. So similarly, this whatever so-called psychiatrists, philosophers, psychologists, and all these so-called world Western philosophers, or even Indian philosophers. Why should I be say Western? India, we have more in India, right? India has to export these people, right? So these people are not going to help. So Prabhupada is hammering towards the later part of his purport. One has to be connected with authorized book Bhagavata, authorized book Bhagavata, and authorized person Bhagavat. Both we have to be associated with. And Prabhupada says, only then someone can be saved. Now, how can you define an authorized Bhagavat? The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. So let's talk about the person Bhagavat. Book Bhagavat, there is no doubt. Okay. Krishna Swadhama Upagate, Dharma Jnana Dibisaha, Kalau Nashta Dashamesha, Purana Arka Udhanudita. When Lord Krishna left this world, where has Dharma taken shelter? In the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Purana Arka Adhuna Udita. So this Purana has come up like the rising sun. So, we know about the book Bhagavat, but person Bhagavat is also important. Okay. So sometimes, so therefore, if someone has to really take shelter of a bona fide Bhagavat, where does someone go about looking for this? The world does not know. We all know, because we have been for donkey years in ISKCON. We know it. No? We know it like the back of our hand. No? But people do not know where to go for. And sometimes the sad part is people go and then they come out, not relishing. That is even worse, right? And sometimes people go for something which is almost bona fide. That is again very dangerous. Almost very bona fide. For example, let us take some aspects of a bona fide, and I was talking about this in the Bhakti Vaibhav on last Saturday. In some other context, in the context of second canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we were talking about this. How do you know? So there are 3 or 4 parameters which are there. The first is sampradaya. This person has to come from a bona fide sampradaya. Sampradaya is like a university, right? I cannot say, you ask me, I have pain in my head. And I said, yeah, I think neuro, I'll operate on you. Then you'll ask me, yeah, but are you doctor? I know, I have seen my dad operating so many. Since childhood I have known, no problem, you come. No, you don't have to go to Medicare, I'll do. Will you come? You'll say, thank you very much, I'll see you later, right? I have to study in a university which is recognized. If I tell you, yeah, I've studied in Melbourne University, I'm a doctor from there. Okay, fine. Recognized university, world-class university, right? So then you get confidence. So like that, universities like this sampradaya, there are 4 sampradayas. One starting from Lakshmi, Sri Sampradaya. There is Brahma Sampradaya, where we come, started from Brahma, Lord Brahma, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, the university where we are all studying Krishna consciousness and practicing. Then third is Rudra Sampradaya by Lord Shivji. And then the Kumara Sampradaya, by the 4 Kumaras, right? And then anything else is coming from this. Every other sub-sampradayas are all branches coming out from this, including ours. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Ishwarapuri, Madhavendrapuri, after that, he started this Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we will find these bona fide spiritual masters in one, if we take shelter under the umbrella of genuine university, Sampradaya. However, Sampradaya itself is not enough. Okay, there are enough people who say that we are from Nityananda Vamsh, or they may say we are from this Vamsh and that Vamsh. But we are all Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is fine. They may still say that, and they'll say that we are the ones we are the only ones who can be spiritual masters. Okay. Or sometimes people coming under Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they may tell you that you don't, we will directly take you to Raganuga without any Vaidi. Okay. So you from tomorrow onwards, don't hear the holy name. No, we will teach you how to meditate on Ashtakaliya Lila. So people with lot of lust, greed, anger, pride, everything in their heart, suddenly what will you will find that these people are leaving. Sometimes people have left ISKCON. I know one person personally. When I was, many years back, when I was in Toronto, one person left ISKCON, initiated devotee, okay, left ISKCON and went behind some Babaji who said that, we will give you this, right? So sometimes Gaudiya, the Sampradaya also may look like that, but it is not, it's not where you want to go. Then second, within the Sampradaya is Matha or institution. So under the Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya, there are several institutions. Chaitanya Saraswat Math, Gaudiya Math, and ISKCON is one such Matha or institution. So there is a college which is affiliated to the university, an institute which is affiliated to the university where you study this subject matter. So you have to study under a recognized university. But then there is ISKCON, and then there is the other ISKCON, right? Within that also sometimes you can get caught and go into Ritvikism, right? That is, they all say that we are also ISKCON. Prabhupada is the Jagat Guru. Everything is fine. But Prabhupada's lineage we do not accept, which is nonsensical. We are clearly saying that that is not correct, right? Why? First of all, Prabhupada himself said that my disciples should become spiritual masters. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Yara deke tare karha Krishna upadesh. Right? So, as long as someone is having the qualities, which is the other aspect. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara upashta vegam. Etan vega anyo vishayata diraha, sarvam apimam prithim tashishya. So if you have the qualities of control over the tongue, belly, genitals, etc., then you are qualified to be a spiritual master. So why not, if a Prabhupada disciple, okay, is having all those qualities, how can we, say that that person is not qualified to be a spiritual master? Okay. So sometimes so many things can happen and people can get deviated even with under institutions. So see the kind of risks we are all exposed to. So now even with all these things in place, if we can get deviated, what to speak of the outsiders, right? So the absolute, highly vulnerable these people are, with all these psychologists who are not even from any sampradaya nor matha. What to speak of deviations from spirituality? They don't even know the basics of spirituality to do the deviations from there, right? Right? So this is the situation of the world. So in today's purport, Prabhupada is hammering this point that the psychologists, etc., Prabhupada says, the basic problem with the psychologists and all these people are that they cannot go beyond the analysis of thinking, feeling, willing. Prabhupada writes in this purport today, which we read some time back, and analysis of the mind. So, mind is again subtle body, right? And mind is made of matter. So these people cannot go beyond matter, because the fundamental flaw here is that you are trying to escape matter through understanding material science. So you cannot escape matter by knowledge of matter. It's not possible, right? So therefore, one needs to go above material science to spiritual science. Otherwise, what will happen? The psychologists, etc., they'll only give material solutions to material problems. They are not going to give spiritual solutions to material problems. Just like, many years back when I heard the SSR CD, Radha Gopinath Prabhu CD, which all of you know, he says that every science, the tools which are for physics are not relevant for chemistry. In physics, you use a vernier caliper, for example, okay, to do something. But in chemistry, you cannot measure the acidity or alkalinity of a solution by using a vernier caliper. Okay, and let me see what is the reading. Not possible. There you have to use a litmus paper. Using a micrometer, you cannot see, okay, let me see the diameter of coronavirus. Not possible, right? By the time you do that, you are dead because you can't even see that thing, right? So then there is a different tool, a different science is giving, which is not applicable to another branch of science. So here it is microscope, right? Then there is telescope, right? You cannot say, if microscope can make small objects look big, why can't I use a microscope and look upwards, and see more small moon big? There you need another science, which is telescope, right? So like that, from even within material science, the tools are different. Therefore, and this is spiritual science. Therefore, more and more you engage in understanding analysis of the mind, thinking, feeling. If you're only going to approach solution by going deeper and deeper into matter, then you're eventually not going to find out a way of coming out of matter. So Prabhupada is mentioning that also in today's purport. And then Prabhupada says, therefore material intelligence is no good. In fact, in his book, Krishna Consciousness, the topmost yoga system, again one of the small books of Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita begins where human intelligence fails. Bhagavad Gita begins where human intelligence fails. Arjun was also doing this cause-effect analysis, right, using his own intelligence. But his intelligence did not take him anywhere in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So where his intelligence stopped and he stopped lamenting, then Krishna started speaking the Bhagavad Gita. Similar to what you were telling in your podcast, was very good yesterday. Okay, so where our intelligence stops, then we can see this higher wisdom. So now the mind, as a few days back in the last Bhagavatam class, I was speaking this, so I just remember this, that the mind controls the senses. In the sense, the mind is like a queen who controls all the senses. Do this, do that, do that. And then the senses are all running. Yes, madam. They're all running. But if the mind is the queen, the king is the intelligence is the king. So through intelligence, we have to control this mind. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada advises us that we must take shelter of the book Bhagavatam, the scriptures, to control this mind through intelligence. But person Bhagavat is also important. As we said, book Bhagavatam is there, but Prabhupada, if you read that purport to Canto 1, text, I think chapter 2, 18th verse, the famous verse, Nashta parayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. When Prabhupada writes that purport, Prabhupada says that you have to go to person Bhagavat. Book Bhagavat is great, Prabhupada says, but it is the person Bhagavat who can explain to you how to practically implement that which is given in the book Bhagavatam. Right? It is the person Bhagavat who will advise us to study the book Bhagavat in a sequence. Because if that does not happen, then what happens? We will tomorrow become also a person Bhagavat, but professional person Bhagavat, who will directly talk only about 10th canto with some musicians behind us and sell our cassettes and CDs and USBs for $30. Right? That is what will happen. These professional Bhagavatas do that. They come up with some, nice music. They'll talk about, they will never talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nobody ever starts chanting after hearing all that. People only buy cassettes and go home, and for their pleasure, they they just hear all this music. That's all. I also went to professional Bhagavatas before. I know that, but the songs are really good, I can tell you. In Hindi, we call dhinchak music. They will make it a dun 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 dun. All that will be there. All that electrifying musical effects will be there in their bhajans, right? So I used to keep it full volume in my house, and then tell everyone I am very spiritual, like that. But didn't start even chanting after hearing so many from them. So they can't change your mind. So you have to go to the right person Bhagavat, because the right person Bhagavat will help us understand how to implement the book Bhagavat in our lives. We need that guidance. Otherwise we'll make mistakes. Our doubts will never be cleared. So Jailbreak Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jailbreak Swami, was asked a question. He was asked a question. The question was to him, if an advanced devotee comes from outside, okay, let's say an advanced devotee is visiting the temple, okay, what should we focus on? Should we focus on our own Bhagavatam study? Should we focus on our Bhagavatam study? Should we focus on our chanting? Or should we focus on associating with that advanced personality? So Jayadvaita Swami replied, saying that your chanting and reading will always be with you as a devotee. But that devotee, that advanced devotee won't be long enough. So take that association. when it is available. So he said that. So we have to take advantage of such association. And we will see in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, throughout Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, this principle is hammered again and again. In 11th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Maharaj Nimi is excited when he sees the Nava-Yogendras. Actually, he is doing some kind of a yagya. But he sees Nava-Yogendras coming. So he stops everything. He says, no, to hell with whatever I am doing, right? He sees Nava-Yogendras and he immediately starts asking questions. Immediately glorifies them and says, no, sit. I have a lot of questions. And to each Nava-Yogendra he is asking one question. So that is the essence of what Jagadnath Swami said. That whenever someone is visiting, you can, more important than studying your own books or your chanting is to associate with that person, because they will not be long enough, though your books and chanting will be there, right? So even Vasudev, we see in 11th canto, the moment he sees Narad Muni has come to Prabhasha Kshetra, to Dwaraka, when the Krishna was winding up his pastimes, at that time Vasudev is taking association of Narad Muni. Of course, Vasudev is a liberated soul, but still to show all of us, he is taking association of Narad Muni, and he is asking Narad Muni, what should I do? I have not behaved properly with my small Krishna. I thought I was his father, so I have chastised him. But he is a supreme Lord, right? I just realized, I am realizing. So please tell me how I can please this personality, Vasudev. Okay. So seeing Narad Muni, advantage is being taken. Even the sages who were sitting on the banks, they saw Sukadeva Goswami come, and all the sages started. We can go till 9, no? Or is it 8:30 today? We can go till 9 or no? Or I can, huh? No, not 9. I will not keep going, obviously. Otherwise, next time I will not be on the roster. I will lose this service if I go beyond 9. Okay. But I just wanted to ensure what is the rule. Okay. So Sukadeva Goswami will not stand in one place only to the extent that you can milk a cow. So they knew that this man is not going to be there for long enough. So somehow these sages, they are making him, and Parikshit Maharaj is asking question after question. And the moment he answers the last question, Sukadeva Goswami simply walks away. He doesn't come and say, how was my class? Everything's okay, right? Are you feeling inspired? All glories to Prabhupada or Krishna, something like that. He doesn't wait for any, he just walks away from that place. So they know this man will walk away. So therefore, opportunity, take the opportunity. So Prabhupada is emphasizing in today's purport that we have to take connection of a liberated Acharya. Prabhupada writes here. Prabhupada says that modern psychologists can study the actions of the mind, thinking, feeling, willing, but they are unable to go deep into the matter. This is due to their lack of knowledge and to their not being associated with the liberated Acharya. So, when Lord Chaitanya was traveling from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, we see that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also kind of, through his pastimes, we learn so many things. So, en route, he was converting thousands and thousands of people into devotees when he was traveling from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan. Not only, people, not only human beings, but he was also delivering the animals also, right? So, Lord Chaitanya's assistant, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who was going along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually he was cautioning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are going to this forest, there is wild animals, and then you are saying, Hare Krishna, what if some animals come, wild animals come. So he was cautioning him, right? Don't chant so loudly, you will attract the wild animals. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued chanting, and they passed one after the other milestone in the forest without any disturbance. And then after that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat near a river, he took bath, he chanted his Gayatri, and as soon as he got up, they saw wild elephants come, like that. And then what Mahaprabhu did? Mahaprabhu simply took water from there and he splashed it on the elephants. As soon as he did that, the elephants started chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They started chanting loudly and rolling on the ground in ecstasy. This is difficult to understand, right? Elephants. And then tigers came there. When tiger came in front of Mahaprabhu, what happened? Tiger also raised its two hands and started chanting Hare Krishna. This is only Mahaprabhu can do this, right? So deer, and then deer and tiger. Usually when tiger sees deer, it sees food. Where will you see a deer and tiger embracing and dancing together? Right? In Hari Kirtan. That also happened there, right? And finally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he crossed the Ganges and then came to Varanasi. When he came to Varanasi, he delivered people who are more difficult than the tigers. Who are those? Mayavadis, right? Difficult assignment, right? So now his associates like Tapan Mishra and all, they actually again cautioned Mahaprabhu. Like, Balabhadra Bhattacharya cautioned against tiger, but these people cautioned against Mayavadis, the so-called Babas and Bapus of the world, right? So he cautioned them saying that Varanasi is a seat of learning of Mayavad, impersonalistic philosophy. And then he said, but, and worst is, there is one fellow right at the top. He is the leader of this whole gang, Mayavad gang. His name is Prakashananda Saraswati. And he has got 60,000 disciples on top of that. Full of Varanasi is his disciples, right? So Mahaprabhu, and then this Prakasha Saraswati is a hardcore impersonalist. And so Mahaprabhu went to these people also. After delivering the animals, he went to these animals. Right? So he went there and he started preaching the message of Krishna consciousness. But that was not so easy. When he started talking, he was criticized. Initially, Prakashananda Saraswati criticized Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, for whatever he was doing. They thought that he was a sentimentalist. Right? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Varanasi and came to Vrindavan after that. Now, though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan, the devotees of Mahaprabhu, sometimes devotees, they say, are more compassionate than the Lord. The devotees didn't give up on these Mayavadis. So what they did, out of compassion, they arranged a meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all these people. They arranged for somehow, they made arrangements so that they can meet Prakashananda Saraswati with all his entourage, the 60,000 disciples. Okay. So when Mahaprabhu entered that place, what did Mahaprabhu do? We know that famous pastime. Mahaprabhu entered that place and he sat in a place where people washed their feet. This humility, all these people were attracted. Humility plus the effort. Asat Shastram. I am going to go down and give nonsense philosophy of impersonalism. And you people think that is the true. Person who gave the philosophy himself condemned that philosophy. Right? So Mahaprabhu convinces all these people. And he convinces all. And then he went to the Bindu Madhav temple in Varanasi, where all these people came and started dancing with Mahaprabhu in Kirtan. So after the wild animals, four-legged animals, he went to the two-legged animals in Varanasi and he delivered all of them. Right? Now, this Varanasi is the same place where Lord Krishna also delivered a lot of people. So many crooked kings were there. The Kashiraj was there. In 10th canto we study all these things. Kashiraj was supporting, this guy Poundrak. Poundrak was the one, he said, I am Krishna, right? So Kashiraj was supporting Poundrak. And Kashiraj proclaimed. What did he proclaim? He said, soon I will send the head of my enemy flying to Varanasi. Who was that? Krishna's head. He thought he will send flying to Varanasi. But in the battle, Lord Krishna killed Poundraka and then sent Kashiraj's head flying to Varanasi. Right? The king who proclaimed he will send Krishna's head, Krishna sent his head to Varanasi. So when the head actually reached Varanasi, all the subjects were very happy. Oh, the enemy's head is there. But then they realized that it was Kashiraj's head. And when Kashiraj's son saw his father's head like the Sivya's head, what he did a tantric yagya. What is tantric? Black magic type yagya he did. What is that? Voodoo in English. He did all that and sent a fiery demon to Dwarka to kill the Lord. But Lord Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra's heat was much more powerful than this fiery demon. So in the heat of the Sudarshan Chakra, this fiery demon also ran away from that. He was also finished, right? And this fellow ran towards Varanasi actually. Again Varanasi. Okay. All these rascals come to Varanasi somehow. Right? And as per the tantric mission, what happens now? If the tantra fails, then it will come and attack the person who started the whole thing. Right? So it came chasing behind him and killed everyone. So Kashiraj, priest who did that whole tantric yagya, tantric, Kashiraj, the demon. So everyone was killed in that Varanasi. So Lord Krishna also delivered and in fact he gave his mercy in that way. Whoever is killed by the Lord, obviously they attain a higher destination than impersonalism, right? So everyone benefited. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, similarly when he was going from Prayag to Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu developed ecstatic symptoms. He saw a cowherd boy playing the flute. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into Ashta Satvik Bhav and he started foaming in the mouth. Right? So what happened? There were a lot of these Pathans who were there. Pathans, the Muslim Pathans who were working for the king. So when they saw this, and Mahaprabhu was with all his devotees, right? And devotees are generally, very simple. So they thought these were all, some beggars and thieves who are trying to exploit the saintly personality, right? So they mistook the poor people and they thought these people have administered some poison to this person and that's why he is foaming in the mouth, and they wanted to punish the devotees, these Pathans. So the devotees are also, sometimes they have to use smartness. They will not say this is Ashta Satvik Bhava. Where will the Pathan understand all those things? So they said that no, he has epilepsy. That is why, he's like this. And then they waited for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come back into consciousness. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this original state, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also supported the same version. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, yes, I have this problem. That is why all this happened. Like that. Now, so though Mahaprabhu also tried to trick them, one of those Pathans was very pious by nature. So he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's effulgence and he started discussing the various aspects of Puranas. In fact, he started discussing the Quran. He started discussing his own faith, the impersonal aspect of the Lord with Mahaprabhu. The Lord Mahaprabhu told him that in the Quran, actually, towards the end of Quran, the Lord is actually not declared as personal. Mahaprabhu told him that towards the end of the Quran, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is discussed as blackish in color, in complexion, and therefore you have to chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He gave this to the Pathan also. Right? And therefore the Pathan became initiated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he was given the name Ramdas. And then he was told, now you propagate Krishna consciousness amongst all the Pathans. You go there, right? So, in fact, it is said that because of this preaching, we have what is called as the Pathan Vaishnavas today. So all these, so a lot of people in Pathan category who are Krishna devotees, who are chanting the holy name. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave mercy to everyone. In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 5th canto, after the hellish planet's description, hellish planet's description was very, very vivid. Kumbhipaka, blood, pus, stool, hair, urine, and you will get a body where, you can't even get rid of that body. It will continue paining you, right? You'll go through terrible pain, right? And you will not even become unconscious, right? So it's horrible, that section, hellish 26 or 28, 26 hellish planets are described. So after hearing Parishit Maharaj, his heart is overwhelmed with compassion. So he's asking Sukadeva Goswami, how are these folks going to be delivered? Okay, now just imagine, he himself had 7 days to live. He should have thought, okay, I am going to die, just like the prisoners, who are afraid of death. He could have been all of himself, thinking about his own death. But he said, how can you deliver these conditioned souls, right? And he's asking that. So he's simply not happy, saying that, okay, I have got Krishna Katha, I am sorted out now. His thinking is not like that, right? So he's thinking of others' deliverance. This is another example of the compassion of a Vaishnava. Just like Narad Muni to Prachin Bhari in this section. Canto 7, Prahalad Maharaj also asks for the deliverance of his father. He says, please pardon my father. But he does not restrict to his father. Immediately after that, he talks about all the other conditioned souls who are immersed in Maya Sukh. He's telling Lord Nrsimhadev, and he's beseeching Lord Nrsimhadev, please deliver those people also, not just my father. So a devotee does not think about me, myself, my extended family. A devotee thinks of the whole welfare of the whole world. So therefore, Prabhupada says one must take shelter of such a devotee. A devotee is ready to suffer on behalf of others. Example is given of Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ did that exactly. Give me all the sins and let me go to the cross. Similar prayer was done by Vasudev Dutt also. He prayed to Lord Chaitanya that let me take the sufferings of everyone. Let me suffer, Lord Chaitanya. So therefore, Lord Krishna therefore says that, he says that, what is the famous verse? Aham naham tishtami vaikunthe. Yogi nam hridayeshu va. Yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tishtami narada. Which means I don't reside in Vaikuntha, I don't reside here, I don't reside there. I reside in the heart of my devotee, who is very attached to me and who always carries compassion and mercy for all my other children who are suffering. That's why I sit in such a compassionate and merciful heart. So therefore, Prabhupada is hammering this, that one therefore has to take shelter of such a liberated Acharya who is compassionate and hear from him the authorized statements from the scriptures. Then things will become very clear and one can properly execute Krishna consciousness. Because these sadhus, they do the most important welfare activity. So, we will end the class with a small story. So, once upon a time, there was a rich old man, who divided all his property equally amongst his 3 sons he had. So, everything was divided equally amongst the 3 sons, but he withheld one thing. He withheld a very expensive diamond ring with himself. He said, I am not going to give any of you. You have to do a test. You have to pass a test. Whoever passes, that fellow will get. What is the test? He says, go into the outside world and do a most noble activity. Do the most noble activity and report back to me, okay, on what you did. And then I will assess all 3 of you and I will be the final judge. So, he sent all the 3 sons. The first son came back and narrated to the father that actually, with the money that you have given me, I started a small, I wanted to start a small business, right? But what happened? I was discussing this idea of me starting a business with a elderly person. But this person, he said, no, why do you want to put money? I'll give you wealth. So he gave me all his wealth even without a contract. No agreement, nothing. He gave me all his wealth. And then I did business. And then what happened? My business was successful and I also honestly reciprocated with that person and returned with interest whatever he had given me. Okay. So very noble activity. So the father said, very good, very good. This is a very honest act because basic etiquette means if someone helps you, you give something back to them. So you have done a very honest act. But no, you're still not quite there. It's not a noble act. Though it passes it ticks all the boxes of honesty, right? So it's very good, but still not quite there. Second son came. What did you do? He said, there was a small child who was drowning. I felt sad. Oh, small child drowning. So therefore, I jumped into the ocean, risking my life, and I saved that particular child. So the father said, that is very good what you have done. Any human being should do that, like that. But to be worthy of my diamond ring, you have to still do a higher act. Because what you did was, you saw a needy person, and you did some good for that person, okay, so which is good. Then the third son came. Third son said that, Father, I was grazing sheeps. I was grazing them, and then as I was grazing them, I went to a cliff. You graze the sheep and the sheep gradually climb up. When I went there, I found I was grazing sheep. There was one fellow from the enemy camp. There are enemy camp also, grazers. Okay, so he was sleeping there. Very envious fellow all the time, right? But he was sleeping at the edge of the cliff, and I saw that he was slowly rolling, and he did not realize he was in deep sleep, and he was about to fall off that cliff. So what I did, I went immediately and woke him up. I said, hang on, you're in a very dangerous situation right now. Wake up, else you will fall down. So the father said, and Madhais of the world. So similarly, Prabhupada is bringing this point also here. So Prabhupada says that devotees are compassionate. In several sections, Prabhupada says, devotees are compassionate. What does it say? What is the 6 qualities? Suhridah sarva dehinam, ajata shatravah shantah, sadhavah titikshava karunika, suhridah sarva dehinam, ajata shatravah shantah, sadhavah sadhu bhushanah. So devotees are compassionate not only to people who are normal or who just appease him, but also to people who are showing hatred towards them. And that is the highest manifestation of mercy, where you reach out to the people who don't like you, but still you work for their welfare by giving them genuine product of Krishna consciousness. So, in summary, we started our class with a small girl who gave hope to that particular criminal in the jail. So, we talked about how Vaishnavas give a ray of hope. Narad Muni is sitting with Prachin Bari till that, persistent, to give that ray of hope. Second, we talk about Krishna consciousness being the only way of escaping. We talked about that. Whereas the simple people of this world are misguided by the so-called PP. What is that? Philosopher, psychiatrist. All these people, all these P's. Okay. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying, take shelter of the book Bhagavatam and the person Bhagavata. Then we talked about person Bhagavata. How person Bhagavata is as important as the book Bhagavata, because they teach you how to, they will assist us, guide us with their compassion, how to implement. We talked about examples from Lord Chaitanya Leela, from Lord Krishna, how they delivered, Parikshit Maharaj, Prahlad, and then we talked about this diamond ring, where we talked about the highest dharma being giving to even enemies or envious people. So therefore Prabhupada says, here in this purport, that unless one takes shelter of such a liberated Acharya, one cannot escape this cycle. I'll stop the class here. It's 9 o'clock, and any questions or comments? Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for the class. My question is regarding the first section about the prisoners getting hope to get out of this material world. So from Chaitanya Charitamrita we know that the living entities are transmigrating up and down, and some are falling the fortunate category and they get the mercy of Guru Krishna and they can get out. I'm curious to know, like, all the living entities that are in this universe, at some point will they fall into that category? Because the reason why we enter this universe is to enjoy and to be separate from Krishna. And then we have to realize at some point that I am not the enjoyer, because it's Maya is kicking us continuously. So because of that constant kickings, will everyone fall in that category at some point? Because otherwise, what's the point just going up and down?
Everyone falls under which category? Your question exactly.
Being Bhagyavan Jeev and getting the mercy of Guru and Krishna.
Will everyone be Bhagyavan?
At some point, yeah.
At some point?
Will all
not necessarily. Prabhupada said there will still be rascals in this material world. So it's not that everyone will be Bhagyavan. Who takes Bhagya? Okay. Like, in English there is a saying, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink unless it really wants to. So we can go and we can reach out to people out of compassion. But if people don't want the product, you can't do that, no? So even Lord Krishna does not take away the free will. Tathascha Shakti means what? That there is a choice to either go back to the spiritual world or to enjoy in the material world. Unfortunately, we are Tathascha Shakti. If we were only part of, Krishna's, Antarangi Bhajta, so we were never susceptible to fall down, then yes. But we are susceptible to fall down. All jivas are susceptible to fall down, except the Lord Himself. Every jiva is susceptible to fall down because we are tatascha. So therefore, always there is a choice. If we exercise the right choice, then we can be delivered. But even after knowing everything, pashya na pashyati, then still we go back and do the same things. Then, Bahu Janma created a jail. Will ever jails go away from this world? No. There will always be lawbreakers, despite all knowledge of constitution. Even if government, years back when I was hearing Radha Gopinath Prabhu CD, SSR, he said even in Switzerland there is a jail. In Switzerland, it's not like India, people are walking naked, the children are begging on the streets and all that. Even in an opulent country, Sweden, etc., still there are economically well-off country, there is jail. Because people will commit crime out of lust, out of greed. This will continue because it's there in man. So till the detergent powder of Harinam cleanses, Harinam can be given to you. You can keep a nice detergent powder in your house, but you have to put it in the water and you have to soak your clothes in that. Otherwise you will have all the nice things. It's like saying, one patient went to the doctor and said that, I have been going to this doctor and I followed the instruction also, but I didn't get cured. Why? Because he said, keep the lid tightly closed. That is the instruction I followed. So I never opened it and took the